Alright, this is another one for the Diary of the Great One named John Weaver, which would be me on my new channel. It is 11:35 in the morning Pacific Standard Time. It is the 16th of June 2023. I'm monitoring CNN right now, and it just popped up with a news story that I'm going to be getting more information on. Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I knew this son of a bitch was going to try to do this shit. But there's no way in hell they're going to be able to get this shit done in the first place. They got to understand this. Schwarzenegger got to understand this damn thing. If he's already studied political history and the Constitution, there's no way in hell he can do this damn thing. It's bad enough he ran for governor of California. Danner screwed us over one way or another. Appreciated him as an actor, but as a governor, forget it. And now he wants to go where Trump had gone. And the Constitution will bar his ass. He's an Austrian immigrant. He's got dual citizenship. He lives here in lives here in California. There's no way in hell the Constitution would ever allow an immigrant, someone who is not U.S. born, to become president, unless there is an amendment put into the system and approved. It takes a long while for this damn thing to get through Congress, even with this damn lot. But they're going to have a problem with this. Because it means anybody else who's got an immigrant status can actually be president of the United States. There's a history on this thing. There's a reason why we don't want anybody else foreign born coming into the United States and say that they're going to be running our damn country. People keep forgetting world history, I swear to God. And it takes the will of the people to understand this, but apparently people are stupid in our country. And they probably would approve it. Because at this point, they don't get it. We didn't want foreign born to lead our country because we had seen, the forefathers had seen that there had been fights and contentions from other foreign born people trying to claim other countries' thrones and leadership. Spain and France had been trying to fight like crazy to get the leadership of England for centuries. We didn't want that to happen here. We sure as hell didn't want anybody else taking over the United States. We wanted our own citizens who are born in this country to take up that. And we've had that tradition for over 240 something years. We had that into the Constitution. During those days, we did not have rules coming up, or actually amendments coming up, to have this done. But of course, there were rumors concerning about Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was running for governor that maybe he could be good for president as well. That was the Republicans during that time. They've got to understand there's no way in hell. Continuation. I like Schwarzenegger in his movies. I liked his acting in the damn thing and his environmentalism and his understanding of California politics today, of what our state needs. He's trying to fit himself as a California resident, and I got no problems with that. But I do have a problem with him becoming president of the United States because he's not allowed. Until we have conventions happening across the states to take up this issue, and then they have to go through the political process in the House of Representatives and then the Senate, and then they got to put it onto the president's desk at that time. It may not happen today. It may not happen tomorrow. If it happens in another 2 or 3 years, that's a different thing altogether. There's going to be no executive order to override this. It has to go through the political process because that's what the Constitution says. And there are procedures for this. Only if The majority is ruling on this situation. And that's a different, that's the thing right there. Can't be done overnight. Schwarzenegger may be running, but he's probably going to be doing it for the 28th or for the 32nd. Speaking of which, here we go.
In that race with DeSantis and Trump, the former California governor talking with CNN's Chris Wallace about his dream to become president, a dream that can't come true.
The Constitution said that a president has to be a natural-born U.S. citizen. If not for that, would you have run for president?
Well, yes, of course. I mean, I think the field was wide open in 2016, and I think the field is open right now. I mean, think about it right now. I mean, who is there that is really a person that can bring everyone together? Who is there today that people say, okay, he's not too old, or he's not too this or too that, or what is that? Because it's now a question about who do you vote against, rather than who do you vote for.
So you're saying you would run for president in 2024?
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, because it's a no-brainer. I see it so clearly how he could win that election. I mean, it's like me in California when I was running for governor. It was clear that people are looking for some new answer, not a right wing or a left wing, but someone that can bring the nation together. There's just so many things that need to be done and can be done. And what makes it so wonderful is because it's doable. It's all doable. All it needs is just people coming together and saying, yes, we can do it.
For more on Chris's interview with Arnold Schwarzenegger and a conversation with actor Andy Garcia, tune in tonight at 10 and streaming on Max. Boris?
Okay. Now you've heard. Am I satisfied? He understands the situation, and if he could do it, he would. Which means we're going to have him for president if the GOP finds a way to get past the U.S. Senate, which is democratically controlled by a silver hair, by a sliver. But then they have to talk about this in the states, and they're so divided right now, it's not even funny. Our country is killing itself over differences left and right. They are finding subdivisions left and right that there's no way to unite it, and Schwarzenegger realizes the problem is he probably realized it too damn late. That there's no way for him to get through this damn thing. The previous generation would probably say, okay, yeah, well, maybe in the 80s and 90s we could have done the conventions and then probably voted him in. And he probably would have gotten in. He would have been president of the United States back then. But not these days. Not with this generation and not with these yahoos going after each other left and right. And that's what makes it different. That's what makes it difficult these days. Because right now we're looking at how our country is breaking down left and right. We are looking at ourselves and wondering, how the hell are we going to be able to get past this? How are we going to be able to get this stuff done? It scares all of us. And if I could send a letter over to Arnold Schwarzenegger on this one, if you could actually get this video, it'd be weird. They're talking about the age situation between Trump and President Joe Biden. Mr. Schwarzenegger, you're in the same age bracket. I'm 57. I'm showing the grays on my face. Not to mention a little bit in the hairs somewhere in there, but I'm showing the premature gray. But you, on the other hand, have already got it in your beard, and you're already showing that you're in your late 70s, pushing 80s. You're in the same age bracket at this point, pal. And we've got the populations are saying that we need someone younger in there. Someone shows a little bit more age. What was it, 50s or 60s that General George Washington got voted into office. Of course, it may have been the wig that threw me off all the time. But he got in office as a late old fart. During that time, they had no issues concerning about foreign born, and that's the major issue here. If this was back in the late 80s or during the 90s, you probably would have had maybe some difficulty, but you could convince the GOP during that time to do that move. To get the convention started, get the talking going during the states. Your popularity during that time was high enough, like Ronald Reagan's was in the 80s. They could have moved. Most of the states could have had the conventions, talked about it, voted upon it, then needed to get the votes in the House of Representatives, not to mention clearing it through the Senate. They'll finally get the thing signed by the President of the United States at that time, if he was going to be willing enough to do it. We were talking about Herbert, we were talking about Bush Sr. during that time, not Bush Jr. Sr. would have signed off on it, but they didn't do it. They didn't. There was talk, but it didn't push. Mr. Schwarzenegger, it's been so different these days, and you've seen how the changes are happening. I know you care a lot for this country. And practically, if it was possible, I don't know. You probably would have the political savvy for it, but when it comes down to the economics, you're also for that one as well, because California was still recovering through the economics. But I know we had our own problems concerning about our own Democrats during that time. Davis was trying to clean up the mess until people decided it wasn't, he wasn't the one for them, and then they recalled his ass. I think that's how you got on the job. That's how you got into the job. A recall election from Governor Gray Davis, and he was struggling with the economics, but at least he was moving things. And then the public decided you were the right one for the job, and then our economy's screwed. You and numbers didn't mix, pal. You may differ, and this is America. We differ, but we respect each other's opinions on that one. Yeah, I know. Then we had, was it June16? Or was that earlier than that? What a nightmare that guy was. Worse, we had Jerry Brown coming in office. Scary as haze. And now we got Gavin Newsom struggling like crazy, but he's coming up on his end of his terms because of California. He could have gone back into California. Could have. Didn't. Stayed out of politics, but you stayed in other things to keep you busy. I liked the action movies a long time ago. Grew up as a kid just watching this stuff. They thought you were American. Oh, let's talk about something like that, shall we? Gotta rest my hand first. Gotta prop this up a bit. We gotta talk, dude. We gotta talk. I mean, seriously. Maybe you ought to get me another video on this one here. Another video letter, maybe a little bit longer than that.